Welcome back, boys. We have grown quite a bit during these last videos, and I just want to say thank you. You guys are the greatest, especially the channel members. Wink. So this is the application we'll be getting the end of the tutorials. A simple tool to switch between Steam accounts.
As strange and counterintuitive as it seems, time dilation is a law of nature.
The usernames and passwords will be stored in a text file somewhere on your PC. You can choose the destination yourself. Alright, now for this tutorial we'll go through how we can store the username and the password, and there will be a second part for the login into Steam. So when we open the Steam application, we do all of that stuff will be in the second part, but now we'll focus on storing all of the information that we need. And let's start with making a new project, and it will be in Windows Forms. Let's call it Alright, so when we have the designer window up, we can add some buttons. We'll add one for making a new user. So when we click this button, we'll add new user, and for that we will need some text boxes. So there we go. So you add a username, password, add new user, and it will end up in this combo box. As easy as that. And to begin, we'll double click on the form, and something weird happened. Double click on the form, and it will bring up this load function. We'll not do anything there yet, but now when we have the code ready, we can write some data types, structure for our user, and the list that we would put the user in. So we'll start off with a struct, and we'll call it the user. Oh, I forgot. Curly brackets, and we'll make it so when we add a new user, we'll have to make it public so we can access it from a different function or later on. And we'll call, or we will have the parameters string user and the string pass, which is password and user name. Curly brackets on that, and we'll make the username, so this is a different variable, equals to user, which we added in, and password, oh my bad, it will autocorrect, equals pass. So you will see errors here because we haven't added them yet or declared them yet, and we will declare them now. So public string username, and it will be a get, so not set, we set them here. And to get the password, we just copy that and write password. So now we have a struct for the user, which we will add in our program, a username and a password. Now, because we want more than one user to use, my English is bad, no worries, but we'll create a new list of users, or user list equals new list user and closing. So we add a new list of users, and now we'll have to add all of the users into that user list, and after that we'll add all of the users in user list to the combo box, and so on. But if you remember, I said earlier we also want to store all of this information in a text file, so we can access them when after the application has restarted. Otherwise this will just reset and you'll have to add a new user every time. And to do that, we'll go into the load function and we'll write check for illegal thread calls equals to false. This will make it so we don't get or the application doesn't break when we change something. For example, we change the text in a text box from a different thread. If we did it without this, it would just break and call it an error. If we add this, it will not. So at this point we will check if the user has a text file, and if they have a text file we can use that to search through, but if they don't, file, and this we'll have to add using system.io file.exists, and here we'll have to add a string path. We'll just add it up here, string path equals to, and now you'll have to for this string I can show you. If you just write a string like this, and for example the C drive, and we call it data.text, so exactly at the start of the C drive we add a data.text file, you will get an error like this. That's because you will have to add an at the beginning of the string. That shows the compiler that it's a directory or something, I don't know, but you'll have to add this at when you declare a directory in string. Okay, now that we have a directory to place our file or check for our file, we can add it in our form load. So if they have a file, or if they don't, because of this exclamation mark, we'll add a stream writer, call it sv equals file dot create text and path. So this will write a new text file with our path name, which is data.text inside the C drive. And when we're done with that, we'll have to dispose of this stream writer, because otherwise it will say that a different process is using the text file and we can't edit it. So we'll just flush it and dispose it. There we go. So now we have a text file with the name data.text. What we can do with that is we can take all of the information inside the text file and put them in the user list. And how we do that is for each var line in, oh never mind, we'll have to create another list, which will be a string, because we will loop through each line in the text document. And we'll call it lines equals file dot read all lines, path, so we'll read all the lines inside the path, and we'll add it to list. So now we get the information inside a list. We can loop for each line in lines. That's my bad, var line. So this is for each string. This I think you can enter string as well, but for each string inside this string array, we'll get our username and password. So now we just have to have a way to separate the username and password. And to do that, I just chose to add the username first. So if this would be in line, it would. So now we just have to put the username into the, or we'll have to remove the comma and take the username in our user name or user's username and password in our user's password. So remove that, and we'll add a string array entries, and it will be line dot split. And now you will have to add a char, and that will be our comma. So this will remove the comma, and it will split the string into two, username and password. Easy enough. So now we'll create a new user equals new user entries and the index 0, because this will be the username, and at the index 0 in our entries string array will be the username. And for the second, it will be the entries 1 index, because that's our password. So we create a new user with the username and a password. And for now, or since we have a combo box that we want to use to navigate, we'll add it in, or add a user into that. So combobox.items.add and entries. Oh yeah, we only add the username into the combo box because we don't want to see the passwords in the combo box. We want to navigate by username. So this will be in the same index, or the combo box will be in the same index as our user list. So we can just pick a specified user by the specified index in the combo box. This will make more sense later on, but I'm just explaining. User list and dot add new user. So we add our new user from the text document. So now that we have added all of the users from the text document, we can move on to adding a new user. So if we go here and write or type a new write a username and a password and click the add new user button. So to do that, to get the button click function, just double click on the add new user button, and we'll start writing the function. So let me just get my notes, 1 second. There we go. So we'll add a list string, and we call it lines equals file.read_all-lines. This is the same as before because we will access the same text document. So path to list. So we take each line and we create a new user. Var user equals new user. And now, sorry, I was sick just a few days ago, so my throat is still hurting. But I'll get through the video. So we add a new user, and this time we'll add the text box 1 and the text box 2, which is the username and password. So text box 1.text and text box 2.text. So that's just an easy way to do that, and we'll add it into the user list. So add user. Now we have added the new user into the user list. We also will have to change the text file. So lines.add and user.username. You can write textbox 1.text, but I prefer it this way. So plus and then the comma, because that's how we separate remove that. That's how we separate the username from the password. So a comma and then the user.password. Now we do file.write to all lines, path and lines. So we write to each line in the path with our new text or edited text with all of the new users. And now, because the combo box, this one, it's not updated yet, so we'll have to update it. Combo box .1.items and .clear. So we'll remove all of the items and we'll add them again. So for each user, and we'll call it v in user list. So for all of the users, we'll add everyone. We'll add the usernames. Clarification. So when we open up the combo box, we'll only see the usernames, and we can select a user with only the username. Kinda smart. I don't think there's much left on this part. We'll have to test it, I guess. And I did something wrong. Alright, so I don't know if it's me or my computer that doesn't allow me to create a text file directly there, but you can create a text file everywhere else, it seems. So I have created a temporarily directory on the D drive. So I'll copy that directory and I'll replace it with my path, and we'll have to add another reverse slash and data.text. So now let's test this if it works. We can look here. So here is our folder and we have created a text document. Well, as you can see, no user yet. We'll call it username and bad password. We'll click on add new user, and now we can select the new or the added user. We'll look into the text file, and here we have all of our data. So this is the first part. I hope it wasn't that complicated. Reach out to me in the comments if you're having problems, or in Discord. I'll link it in the description. But thank you for watching if you made it this far, and I'll see you guys in part 2.